Yes, indeed. We are live on air. Once again, this is Be Smart on Air, the famous Christmas episode. Again, I can't believe it. It's incredible. Um, well, yeah, it's a bit early, but it kind of seems that December will be extremely busy. So um, Christmas came early this time. Um, Even though it's really hard, um, kind of feels strange this time due to the tragedy in Paris. But oh well. Um, let's get the introductions going. I'm Nilo, as usual, from very northern Sweden, and this time we had this like a broad idea of putting together some Christmas thoughts, Christmas gifts perhaps, connected to education and even pedagogical ICT use, information technology use. So let's see what comes out of that. But Tina, who are you?
I'm Tina. Surprise, surprise.
Still,
So,
okay.
so I'm Tina Sarisami, and I'm from Finland, and working a lot with ICT and international projects and the new curriculum, the curriculum reform in Finland, and so on. So quite busy. Working mainly for the National Board of Education in Finland, but also a lot in regionally and even locally.
Very good, very good. The bird eye view on education that we definitely need. What about Kim? Do you hear us? Is your phone like just about to quit or battery going flat or something?
I hear you, and
Good.
that's why I'm keeping the video off to make it stay online as long as possible.
Saving a bit of battery. You have like what, 5% or something?
No, it is up to 20%, but using
Oh, very good.
all functions as well.
Yeah, fine. So Tina in Finland, me in northern Sweden, and Kim, you are, I guess, still in very southern Sweden, right?
Yeah, that's where I am at. It's almost as far south as we can come.
And you are the techie guy here, I'd say.
That's probably also true.
What do you do being a techie?
I fix students and teachers' computers and make sure their user accounts are working as they should, and basically teach people how to use their hardware and software at
Yeah.
school.
And your English is pretty decent, also.
Yes, and it should be because I'm also educated as a high school teacher in just English and Swedish.
Yeah,
So,
it kind of figures.
yeah,
Good combination, I'd say.
yeah, it is.
You know, I've been preparing myself with Christmas attire and everything, and then all this madness erupted in Paris, and man, it's kind of hard. But I don't know what you guys think about of all of this. Somehow I feel that in many ways, I guess we just should keep going as we usually normally do. Um, like if we don't, I think the evil wins. Like whatever, if crazy things happen in Paris and you never want to go there anymore, I mean, then they are kind of winning. And for my part, I feel that heavens, if I get a chance to travel to Paris, I'll just grab that chance right away, for sure, for sure.
One of my friends said, or that he's gonna fight terrorism by going to rock concerts and going to football matches and sitting on a terrace or terraces drinking coffee. So I think that was really great, because that's that's a normal life, but it was also the sort of normality that they attacked, and that's something we shouldn't we just, as you said, we should not let it affect our normal life.
Yeah, that's well put. It's really crazy, hard to understand. We have some friends in France, like from earlier school collaboration projects, and of course, well, Fina, you have friends and colleagues everywhere as well, and yeah, it gets so close. Somehow, living here in the Nordic area, you get this feeling that sometimes that no evil even exists, since it's so far from us all. But it can get really close, and I think that way of fighting back, like going to concerts, walking the streets you normally do, going to Paris on vacation, for heaven's sake. I mean, that's a pretty darn good of fighting back, I think.
Yes.
Perhaps one of the best ways.
Yeah, not letting them change our lives.
Yeah, that's exactly what those guys are aiming at. That ordinary people have to somehow adapt and well, of course, like it is an attack on all the open societies everywhere. Of course, open societies are easy to attack. It's part of the deal. But I mean, what's the alternative? Like police state? I don't think that is an alternative, really.
No.
Yeah. Let's keep doing what we do. Keep doing what we do.
But there's also the sad side of this, that when it comes sort of to Western Europe, we start to get real shocked. So as long as it stays somewhere outside Europe, as it stays in Middle East or in Afghanistan or in Myanmar or whatever place, then it's sort of we can distance ourselves and just really don't, just go on and don't even, think about it. And then, in Afghanistan or in Syria, these things happen every day. People are killed over and over again, and these same terrorists work there, and we just close our eyes and are angry that they're coming to Sweden or Finland. They're running away from that terror, and so I think this is something we should actually, look into the mirror and think. What if this was everyday life? What if
our lives?
Yes, if we had to be afraid all the time that anything like this can happen anywhere, all the time, every week, every day almost. So what would life be like? And that's the life they're now living in many countries, Iraq and so on. So this is something that makes you a bit cynical, is that it has to come to your own sort of front door for you to sort of notice it.
Yeah, well, out of sight, out of mind. It's easy when it's on the other side of the globe, almost. All the trouble. You read in the newspapers or whatever, it's so far away, and perhaps you don't have any friends there where things are really bad and where all the refugees are fleeing from. So yeah. I just hope there will not be like some kind of really awful, blowback from this, affecting, like you said, the refugee situation, for example. Because pretty much, I'd guess it's safe to say that all
they're
those
having.
people, there are very few people among the refugees who are leaving their homes and their own country, risking their lives if they don't need to.
Yeah, and they're
Right.
actually sort of running away from the same enemy. That's our enemy as well. They're
Yeah,
running
yeah, right.
away from ISIS.
Yeah.
So ISIS. So that's the thing.
I guess we need some Christmas spirit
Okay.
in meeting the and accepting the refugee situation, really. And so, heck, I'm prepared. I'm prepared. Some Christmas spirit here. What do you think?
Okay. Beautiful.
I'm good. And I do have some Swedish glögg here as well. I figured I needed it in these times. So
Okay.
it's early, but Merry Christmas anyway.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Do we have any Christmas presents then, as to education and information technology?
Christmas usually brings on grades.
Brings on what? Grades? Yeah, yeah. Well, shoot. No gifts here. I'm not giving anything for free in that department. I'm telling you.
No, I just followed a discussion on Facebook the other day, and they were talking about a music teacher, I think. Usually they have lots of classes, and maybe even spread over several schools. And this was one example also of a social science teacher who taught all 4 subjects in 6 classes, I think, or even more. No more, because he had like 600 grades
Okay.
now
Yeah.
for Christmas,
Yeah.
and they are just halfway grades, pointless, more or less.
Yeah. We're thinking of skipping the half year, the Christmas term grades. So we think of replacing it with continuous assessment and personal assessment, self-assessment and so on. So
and talking with the students more, like teachers
yeah,
and students
yeah,
talking more
that's
about
right.
their situation.
Yes.
That makes great sense to me, for sure.
All right.
Is
Yeah.
that like part of the plan for the new curriculum or what?
Well, it definitely encourages that kind of the idea that that assessment is part of learning support. So
Yeah.
its main goal is to support learning. So it's helping student to understand how to use his strengths and maybe not to worry too much about the weaknesses or just go around them and not to get stuck because of them, but
Learning strategies.
so that learning strategies and to help him and with the aim to be sort of self-regulated, sort of knowing what steps to take next, and but of course in the beginning the teacher must be there to help and all the way, but a lot of personal talks and discussions, even with the parents, perhaps if the parents feel that they want to, if they start to feel that they want to have numbers. It's the parents who want the numbers, I think, and the grades.
Yeah, pretty often.
How do you know what grades to give a student? Do you have similar to like we have here, like a rubric set up, or how do you know?
We have, but it's not. it's not that sort of strict even now, so it's more like, but it's what it tends to be, that of course you have to be able to explain why you give this or that
Of
grade,
course, of
and
course.
then it's easier to fall back on to some summative tests. So people mainly just give the same grade that students got from their tests, and I think that's of course not fair, because they have also other skills when, for example, teamwork and finding information and things that can't be measured or aren't usually measured in tests. So
Absolutely.
so this is, I think, to just, but of course you have to have the criteria. Rubrics, I think, are I think it's more like the I don't know if they're actually very practical all the time. People want to have these rubrics, and still I don't know. I'm not very confident that they actually help you very much.
It could be true, and also what you said, the same grade as you got on the test.
Yeah.
And in Sweden, that would be catastrophic, because we say that you can't ever make a test where you can get a grade, because you can never fit all the criteria into a single
right.
test.
Yeah.
And you can't sort of, if you get 75% correct, that has absolutely nothing to do with your actual skills.
Right.
Because that particular test can be made up of just simple questions, or very difficult questions, or questions on just one component, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. If you also can have a rubric setup where you actually tell people this is what you're supposed to know to reach this score or this grade, like we have here in Sweden.
Yeah.
That way you could easily skip the Christmas grades if you have a proper rubric setups where you can give full.
Yeah. I think it's more. Yeah.
But if you don't have something like that, then the student really don't know whereabouts am I grade-wise.
Okay. Yeah. That's of course, for the students it's important to know where we're aiming at, and but in a way, it's we're talking about this thing because we have lots of values and attitudes and aptitudes and things like that, and they really are not the kind of things you can sort of measure, but still they are an important part of the learning process. And then if you just look at the things that you can measure, so then it starts to sort of make the thing biased. So it's but assessment is a very complicated thing, and teachers tend to want to have sort of simple things that and the kind of thing that they should really think themselves, and so on. It's problematic.
I must say that, talking about educational technology, so one of the, or perhaps, I'd say one of the best things with say pedagogical IT use, for me at least, is the fact that nowadays we can have this continuous dialogue with our students, the way we work, at least in my school, since well, at least when I'm looking at the work we're doing in the language department, and it's pretty much similar in like in the whole school, that we can have this dialogue with the students from the very beginning, and when they are working, say with whatever, if it's writing or well, for my part, I guess pretty often writing, if they are doing that kind of work, so I can be there, like we can collaborate all the way, and they know that I am there, and I can comment their work. They can ask me questions, and I don't need to be there, like standing just nearby or whatever. They can ask a question, and hopefully I'll answer it, perhaps from home or whatever. And that's something I really like a lot. And if it really works, if we can make it work the best possible way, then we have this way of continuous assessment that is really, really great. And it has never been possible actually before in earlier years. Never ever in that way. No, it's something I really like.
Was that your Christmas present then?
It might be. Go tech and use tech so you can stay with your students and give them feedback continuously from the very beginning. So it won't be a surprise, when they finish whatever product they're working on. You've been there all the way with them, so if it can work like that, then it's really, really neat.
Yeah, I think that what we call multiliteracy in the new Finnish curriculum, I think that is something that really helps the students in a way that they can find their own language or their own way of expressing themselves. So it's not text anymore. It's not only text or you can call a picture is a text.
Absolutely.
Or a video is a text.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah,
audio
right.
is a text. So,
Right.
so in that way, I think it gives the students sort of in the also it's not about their learning strategies, but also sort of natural ways in which they are motivated to express themselves.
It's like the expanded view on talking about texts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So it's just, I think there always been and there always will be quite a few students who don't like writing, who don't like expressing themselves in written language, and was it not in their mother tongue or in any foreign language, but they surely would like to speak, and they like to draw or make pictures or take pictures and share pictures and videos and things like that. So that gives them a real true possibility to develop and show their abilities. Absolutely. In a much better way than it was possible before.
Yeah. And something that very much, I think, connects to that is the digital storytelling thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for again, there are those students, I mean, both actually young and old folks that have a hard time perhaps speaking to an audience, and of course,
even speaking in the classroom.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's an audience for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so in that case, you can try to perhaps record whatever they are working on, again using perhaps pictures or video clips and narrating that, so that in the end they don't perhaps need to stand there and everyone is watching. They can just stand back and let the whatever story be told, without them being there perhaps in person and uttering those words. But they have had the chance to practice a lot, and when they are satisfied with what they are doing, then they hit stop and okay, now I have a recording that's pretty darn good, and that works together with those pictures. I mean, that is pretty neat too. I like that, and many of the students love digital storytelling, creating stories and sharing them and showing those stories, and not always, like I said, necessarily standing there in front of a bunch of people. Of course, you got to practice that as well, but I mean, I'd rather not, you know,
Make them
make people do it. You know, it doesn't feel right. Encourage them, absolutely, but like force them doing that is kind of rough.
Yeah, there are those who really get scared or
absolutely. I mean, it is tough. It is tough, for heaven's sake. Really, really tough. So perhaps another Christmas present, if for those who haven't tried it yet. Of course, there are dozens of different ways of doing that in the classroom with the students. But whatever tools you're using, I guess they should be kind of easy to use stuff, so that you don't need to invest tons of time in getting the hang of whatever tools you're using, but something that works for you and the students pretty much out of the box. That's what should be, the way I see.
And I think one of the most sort of important things are the digital portfolios, and that they would also be sort of a very important sort of factor in assessment or in following the development of a child or youth. So if you have all these essays they write and videos they film and the teamworks they do and the creations they create, if they're in the digital portfolio, I think that's you don't need big summative tests.
That's right.
Really. Not very. So in Finland, in the new curriculum, they suggest that the sort of formative tests that are just to show where you stand at the moment, and more like for the teacher, the information, so that maybe you should, if pay attention to these and these if they're there, but they should be more practiced or something like that. But it's not to assess the student. Perhaps rather you assess the process.
Yeah.
The learning process, how you manage to sort of go forward.
And of course, when building a digital portfolio, it would be really great if the students would feel comfortable having that portfolio publicly displayed. And of course, in that case, I guess the foundation somehow for the whole thing needs to be that the students pick and choose, so that the products, the work that are in their portfolio really are those that they are satisfied with. They're happy. I've done a good job with this. I feel proud of this. I really want to show it to everyone now.
Right.
So that would be neat, having that kind of a portfolio from an early age.
Right.
And that would be so cool and so easy to see the way you are like developing your skills and your abilities.
Yeah. And we're now having a learning environment that allows the students to take away everything or keep the things they've done, even if they leave the school or go to another school or go to university or or get married and
Yeah,
move to
yeah.
Singapore or wherever. So
Right.
so they still keep their own profile they've had and the files and pages they've created and
Mm.
so on. So that
It makes great sense,
right.
especially like I said, if you can build it in a way that the students feels that I'm
Yes.
really proud of what I've been doing, and this
Right.
is something that can, and I
Yeah.
bet it can in many cases help you a lot when you get older. Show
Right.
what you've been doing. It isn't
Right.
that uncommon actually that, well, lately there have been students mailing me, like students that are now something like 17, 18 perhaps. They've been mailing me and asking if I can find some of their work in our archives. And in some cases I do, some cases I
Mm-hmm.
don't, since uh, well, actually we've been using this um, like pretty much 100% digital workflow for a couple of years only, and the students that leave our school, of course, we tell them that, hey, uh, take care that you download your stuff and save it before you leave, because we can't keep all your accounts
Mm-hmm.
alive after you leave our school. But sometimes perhaps the information hasn't been that good either, or they just didn't realize that they do need some of their work. And
Mm-hmm.
now I get this email. Hey Nilo, do you think you can find
Yeah.
this essay I wrote 2 years ago? And I go, oh man, well yeah, I can try. I can make a quick search, but no promises. And sometimes I find something, sometimes I don't. But that would be a pretty darn good idea. Being a bit more systematic about that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so that preferably, of course, that when they leave, they have all their stuff um, somehow, like automatically. It shouldn't be a big deal actually, but
Yeah.
it's I must make a mental note here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, even sort of year by year, sort of that you can see the first great things and the second great
Absolutely.
things and so on. So it would be
Something
sometimes,
like highlights
yeah,
from different years, at least
years,
different
right, and
subjects. That would
scanned.
be
They
that
could
would
be
be super.
scanned and downloaded or scanned and
Yeah,
um,
it shouldn't be a problem. We can keep their accounts
mhm.
alive.
Yeah, yeah.
We must like
But
erase
you
their
can if
accounts.
you I think you could if you have Google,
Hmm.
then they can have their own Google Drive sort of folders and
Oh yeah,
where they
and they
can
yeah they
so
can
so that's where it would be that could be their portfolio then
absolutely they can and they can
and
like they
those
can grab
remain.
they can grab pretty much all their stuff and
Hmm.
go before they leave our school. They can download pretty much everything,
Hmm.
but they can't have the access through their own account after they leave our school. So that's the
Yeah.
thing. They got to realize that, hey, we really need to take our stuff before
Hmm.
we leave. That's the thing.
Okay.
The
But
agreement says you can't have alumni students.
say again, Kim.
You cannot have alumni organizations. So
Yeah, well,
students so students no longer at the school aren't allowed to have accounts anymore.
alumni organizations would be great in many ways, but I
but
mean, I don't see a way they could their accounts could remain still after they have left our school.
No,
Like after,
in our learning environment which we use, the students have their own profiles, each student, and and they can always access their profile, even if they're not ever sort of deleted from the
hmm,
system.
yep.
So they're like they get their profile when they are uh, in a in a school, a student in the school, but then afterwards, since that they will always have that same profile,
Okay.
and they can attend. And I don't know if yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
We can. I don't think.
But that's not part of the Google Apps for Education system, is it? That you can have a digital portfolio.
Of course,
folder.
you can have a digital portfolio. It's no problem. I
But
mean,
you can't
you could do it in many ways within Google Apps for Education, for example, which we're using. I mean, perhaps the obvious way would be like creating sites for all the students, like sites right out of the can. Perhaps initially, at least, somehow standardized sites for them, and then they could like attach or publish their work there. But I don't know. Of course, this can be solved somehow, but the way things are right now, at least for me, taking care of this stuff in my school, I can let them have their accounts, like let them access their accounts after they leave our school. There's got to be some kind of other solution, but most probably.
So what?
It could be possible.
They can't work from home computers.
Of course, they can work from anywhere, but after they leave our school, I delete their accounts.
Yeah.
They have school accounts. They have school accounts. It's just for the time when they are here, you know.
Right. So they can't, in a way, sort of put them together with their own personal Google accounts.
Well, yeah, there are ways of
doing that,
transferring things, and that's the way it needs to go, because their school accounts will be terminated after they leave our school.
Yeah.
So, but definitely they can keep
that's not because of course there's endlessly room on the cafe.
Oh yeah, that's not
the problem.
It's not a problem of storage space at all. Just the way things are organized. Since when they start here, they get their work school accounts, and those accounts are to be used only for when they work here at our school.
Yeah. They don't have do they have emails? Gmails?
Oh yeah. Well, Gmail is like their ID here.
Okay.
But it's connected to our school domain, so it's an impossible situation.
It's not Gmail.
Well, it is Gmail, but it is like tailored to our school domain.
Yeah. So it's a Google Apps account. It's not a
Google Apps account. Like my work account within Google Apps is nilo.a at tunalula.se. That's it, and that's the way the students have their accounts, their IDs, their emails as well, as long as they are working here. If I move to another school, then bye. My account here is gone. Of course, it doesn't make sense for me using this account if I'm working out of school.
Yeah. So yeah.
But this portfolio thing works perfect using Google Apps for sure. But the transfer thing, I haven't put especially big effort into that, since there have been other things on top of the priority list.
But
I think Kim, you know more about this. The way the accounts can be perhaps transferred when they leave school.
Can I just say one thing about? So we have in our community and in our region we have Office 365 and SharePoint and so if I have in the similar way as with Dropbox, I can sort of synchronize. I have the folders I have in Office 365 onto my computer, so they are at the same time both online and offline. So I mean, this could be one way of but you can't synchronize your Google app.
Absolutely, it's
apps
exactly the same thing.
On your own. Yes, you can. Okay. So if you have your own Google
archive
apps for education folders, your personal folder, you can synchronize that in your own computer, and that's your portfolio, and that it's just to synchronize it.
Yeah,
Sure,
it's a
I
yes
mean,
and nay. It's a yes and no answer there, because you can do material, but if it's Google files, you don't sync the Google file. You only sync a link to the content,
yeah.
which is online.
Okay.
You do not
All
sync
right.
if it's a Word file or a PDF or
Yeah.
a picture or whatever. It'll sync completely.
Yeah.
But
Right.
all Google files are only available online.
Yeah, Google
Right.
Files live online only. So, but
Right.
basically,
Yeah.
you need to download them. Of course, you can download a Google document as a PDF or whatever, or a Word file if you like. But I don't know. Like I said, that remains to be seen. There are ways of fixing that for sure, and of course, it makes definitely sense that the students should have their own stuff when they leave school. Absolutely. But so far we've been just telling them that, hey, download your stuff, save it before you go, because otherwise it might be gone, basically.
It's something that, you know, of course, like myself, from your experience, that from school times, that you don't really appreciate so
Absolutely.
much what you've been doing when
Yeah,
you're
yeah. You notice it afterwards.
and even, yeah, so you can, when you're 15, you feel really embarrassed of things you did when you were 13 or 14.
Right,
So that was
right.
so childish, that was so bad. So you maybe don't want to save them or
Yeah, it's
keep them.
just like now when I'm 56. So thinking back
Yes,
the stuff I did 5 years ago, man, that is so stupid and childish. So I don't even want to take a look at it.
yeah.
Oh shoot. Well, what else? I'm crazy about podcasts. You know, that'd be something to. Actually, I will be talking podcasts with a Swedish colleague. Not very far in the future at all. It's like, is it next week? I must check.
December 1st.
You know better, perhaps. When is it?
December 1st.
Yeah, December 1st, right. Micke in Stockholm, he's pretty darn good at this, among other things. And we'll be, I'll be like putting him on the spot about podcasts because I want to know a bit more myself. But it's really, really cool, like a really interesting way of getting your message across. And I think there are really interesting ways of using podcasts in education. And actually, I think it hasn't been done very much in the Nordic area, especially not like, you know, with the students. There's quite a bit of stuff. I haven't seen actually that much of the teacher podcasts either. But there is apparently quite a bit. Mika told he's seen quite a bit. I guess mostly in Sweden, what he was thinking of. But it's pretty cool, since you can take that stuff with you. You can listen to it anywhere. You can be doing other things, whatever, walking the dog, or you're sitting in the bus, and basically that time would be just wasted. And there's so much content to choose from, even within education only, not to speak about the other things. So that is really interesting to me. And I guess I've said several times, there are these wild plans to make this thing into a webcast podcast combo as well. And it isn't actually that hard, but it opens up a bunch of possibilities, I think. A bunch of possibilities.
Niilo, if you could choose, would you be deaf or blind?
Oh man, where do you get that from? Neither, preferably.
No, I was just thinking about because for me, so just listening, it's like you know, like talking on the phone. You know, you don't understand what people are saying, and it's really difficult to understand sometimes what people are saying if you can't see them. So
Yeah,
and
sure. But I mean,
and so on.
sure.
So For me, and I've they say that this is, of course, this is a lot of nonsense, but all the tests, learning learning style tests, say that I'm about 5% audio person. So it's for me it's 70% visual and 25% about moving and kinesthetic and very little about audio.
Yeah, that depends quite a bit what it is all about, I think. Say watching a movie, which is not supposed to be a silent movie from the very beginning. I mean, watching a movie today, a film without audio, I don't know, doesn't give you much. And of course, learning, if you are into hardcore learning, that is one thing, and collaboration in communication, that is definitely one thing, where video and seeing each other shines. But if you are just like, if we're talking about content that has been prepared in a way, perhaps a little bit,
I think
to be listener friendly.
It's so boring. It's so boring.
It's tons of fun.
It's tons of fun for those who prepare them, but to listen,
come on.
It's very boring. So if I want to be in a interaction, I want to have this interaction and between the people and communication and things like that.
Sure, absolutely. But sometimes there are those occasions when you just can't pull it off. So like a surrogate thing might work here. But honestly, I just love listening to good stuff about whatever I'm interested in. When the alternative is, wasting time or just being bored, sitting in a bus, sitting in a plane. I don't always want to work.
Even that is, you should give yourself sort of freedom to be bored and to be.
I don't want to be bored.
To waste time, because that's
no time. We have no time to waste. Didn't you know that? No time to waste.
But then you don't have time to be creative. So
absolutely.
Creativity grows from boredom and
creativity.
And,
that's what
silence.
I'm creative at night. I recharge my batteries at night, and I'm just sparkling when I wake up.
Okay.
But sure, I mean, learning experiences and workshops, that's one thing. But I really love listening to content that I'm interested in. I like that a lot.
I accept that.
You do, thank you. Yeah. Wow, if you accept it, then anyone will.
I hope you do that.
I'm convinced that podcast is something that will be a big thing even on this side of the Atlantic very soon, and it's pretty darn big already in the big world, in the wide world out there. So using that in education in different ways, I think it's not a stupid idea at all. Even though there are those that only prefer live interaction. Live interaction is great, but then there's this thing talking about audiences. We've been into that earlier. That video takes lots of concentration to. If we are talking about content that is not interactive, perhaps, or at least not very much interactive. So video content takes lots of concentration, and you really can't be doing much anything else if you want to be really, like using a video or whatever, video, a broadcaster, video, film, getting the really great advantage of that. You got to be concentrated like 100%. But Listening you can
You
do
don't have
even
to
if
be
you are.
concentrated.
You don't need to be concentrated 100%. Nope, nope. That's a good thing. You
Okay.
just wing it. You just wing it. It's just fine. You can do two things simultaneously. Even I can be, washing the dishes and listening to some great content and actually, getting creative through it. I think so. Yeah. So that's one more Christmas present. Get into podcasts. There's good stuff there. Like Be Smart on Air, soon to be a podcast. I hope. Special Christmas present here. I hope so. Perhaps I don't know. This thing I'll be airing with my good friend and colleague Mick on December 1st. Like I said, it will be in Swedish, but heck, perhaps I should make some kind of a
When do
version
you
of that.
get audios with subtitles?
Oh, yeah, works. Subtitles. That's great. That's great. That's something that the folks in the United States and many other countries haven't quite grasped yet. Like in Germany, I think they are still what is it called? They are like dubbing the foreign films, so no subs anywhere, no subs
Yeah.
anywhere. But I think Netflix is like teaching people to get used to subtitles somehow. One good thing about that, at least. Ah, well. So, getting close to Christmas, and I must say, here in northern Sweden, it is raining, no snow, nothing, at least on our coastal area here, in our coastal area. No snow whatsoever yet. Just a little bit of frost at night. Otherwise, nothing else. It's been kind of rainy the last couple of days, and well, I'm just hoping that we'll get a white Christmas here. What about Finland?
Not where I live. It's very wet.
Southern Finland, wet.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah,
About
most of Sweden.
5 degrees.
What about northern Finland? Do they have snow?
But they have snow. Yes,
Yeah.
I think they have quite a lot of snow in Lapland.
I mean, of course, there's snow in northern Sweden as well, but this area,
Yes.
is like
Yeah.
Gulf of Bothnia is right here, so
Right.
nothing
And
yet.
also in the eastern border, they have snow. So you can see that Finland is a very long country from if you
So is
travel
Sweden.
from even longer. Yeah.
Even longer.
Yeah. So it's quite different climate in Helsinki and in northern Lapland.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The strange thing is that actually where I live, we should have, normally, we should have like 5, 10 minus, talking about Celsius here, and definitely snow as well. This is not just right, because the weather is pretty much the same in Stockholm now, I believe. Pretty much the same. A couple of degrees warmer, not a big deal. What about very southern Sweden, Kim? Is your phone still functional?
Yeah, and last night Google Now told me that tomorrow, which is today, Monday, it'll be 4
For what?
degrees warmer than yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, getting
Okay.
warmer, yeah.
Yeah, so it says 12 degrees.
Did you
today,
say
which was
did you say
8
12?
degrees. 12 degrees.
Well, jeez. Oh man. You guys haven't understood anything,
Yeah. So you're blooming. The flowers are blooming, and
Yeah. Something weird is going on, I'm telling you. But anyway, Christmas is Christmas, huh? So
I don't really feel Christmassy yet. I just
me neither.
not before December, never ever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
December
When the
brings.
snow comes, then I'll get
Yeah,
into the
well,
Christmas period a
yeah.
little bit. But actually, this time I'll be taking off into the other side of the Atlantic pretty early, leaving mid-December with my to spend the Christmas with my sisters. One of my sisters lives there since way back when, so it will definitely not be a white Christmas. I hope
Where in the
actually.
States?
It's in Florida. It's like the western side of Florida, not where all the tourists go normally from Sweden. I think not Fort Lauderdale, Miami side on the other side. But it's I think well, my wife goes swimming there Christmas time. I don't, but but no snow most probably. At least I'm not looking forward to snow there. But
maybe some hurricanes.
Nah, not that either.
Tornadoes and hurricanes.
But I wouldn't mind getting some snow here before we leave at least. So we'll see about that. Hey guys, I think it's time to wrap it up. And it was fun seeing you once again here. Alistair is doing his standard globetrotter thing, I think, traveling somewhere with a lousy wireless connection at an airport or at a hotel, I believe. So to Alistair as well, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas,
all of us. And I guess we'll see you guys like perhaps next year.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Sometime in January.
Yeah.
Let's try to make it early January sometime. Perhaps not January 1st, but
no, not the first week of January.
First week somewhere there. That'll be fun.
After the
when we are back.
When the school starts.
When we are back in business, then pretty soon. Let's talk about that a little bit later and check with Alistair as well and see if we get a date that might work for the usual suspects. And perhaps Kim finds a phone with a bigger battery. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, folks, and have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye.